The streets of Seoul glistened under the late afternoon drizzle, lights reflecting off the wet pavement like scattered diamonds. Amara moved with her usual poise, hair neatly tied into a bun that revealed the sharp line of her jaw and the striking blue of her eyes. She carried herself with a confidence she had only recently begun to embrace, yet her mind replayed the events of the past few days like a vivid movie she couldn't pause. The restaurant had become a battlefield of subtle power plays, whispered jealousies, and unspoken admiration, but nothing compared to the new energy Jae-hyun had brought into her life. Every glance he threw her way, every faint smile, every subtle teasing remark felt electric. She didn't know the full scope of who he was, didn't even suspect the dangerous, shadowy world he inhabited, but that only added to the allure, the thrill that kept her heart racing. As she entered the restaurant for her evening shift, she noticed the familiar tension in the air. Min-ji was stationed at the entrance, clipboard clutched tightly, her expression the perfect storm of fury and fear. Her co-workers hovered nearby, whispers and pointed looks cutting like knives. "Morning," Amara said, voice dripping with playful sarcasm as she set down a tray. "I hope everyone slept well. Ready to be reminded of how ordinary you all are." Min-ji's jaw twitched. "Don't even." "Relax, Min-ji," Amara interrupted, leaning slightly against the counter with a mischievous glint in her blue eyes. "I promise to be mostly harmless today. Mostly." The subtle smirk on her face was enough to make her co-workers flinch. There was no mistaking it. Amara thrived on turning every ounce of jealousy and aggression thrown her way into something she could twist, manipulate, and use to her advantage. And she did it with a charm that left everyone simultaneously frustrated and intrigued. A sudden hush fell over the restaurant as the door opened. Amara's heart skipped a beat. The familiar presence she had been waiting for strode in with calm, predatory grace. Jae-hyun. His tailored suit and sharp features drew every eye, yet his gaze immediately locked onto Amara, ignoring the chaos of the room. She approached, balancing a tray with impeccable grace. "Good evening, sir," she said, smiling. "I see you've decided to grace us with your presence again. Brave of you." He smiled, a low, calculating grin that made the air between them feel charged. "I enjoy danger," he replied, "and I find it rare to encounter someone who can match it." Amara's eyebrow arched. "Match it, huh? Bold words. Careful, sir. You might get burned." He chuckled, the sound deep and smooth, sending shivers down her spine. "Perhaps. Or perhaps I enjoy the fire." The subtle dance between them began immediately, playful, dangerous, and electrifying. Amara took his order, leaning slightly closer than protocol allowed, letting her voice drop just enough to tease him. "Do you always make a habit of picking the troublemakers? Or am I just extraordinarily lucky?" Jae-hyun's dark eyes glimmered with amusement. "Perhaps both," he said, a faint smirk tugging at his lips. "There's something intoxicating about someone who refuses to bow." "Intoxicating, huh?" Amara replied, a sly smile on her lips. "Careful. Addiction can be dangerous." He leaned back, studying her as she moved through the room with effortless grace. "I think I'm already addicted," he said softly. The staff watched in stunned silence. Whispers of admiration, confusion, and envy floated through the air. Her co-workers fumed, unable to understand how Amara continued to outshine them, banter with the powerful guest, and remain untouchable in her confidence. Min-ji, in particular, looked as if she might explode at any moment. "Amara," she hissed under her breath, attempting to regain control. "You can't, you shouldn't." Amara smirked, leaning close enough for her words to cut like a dagger. "Oh, Min-ji," she said softly, "don't you worry. I know exactly what I'm doing. You might want to try it sometime. It's quite liberating." The rest of the evening became a game of wit and subtle power shifts. Amara delivered each dish with precision, accompanied by sly jokes, teasing remarks, and playful barbs that kept Jae-hyun entertained. He laughed quietly at her humor, leaning forward to exchange whispered words that made her pulse race and cheeks flush. Their chemistry was undeniable, electric, yet full of restraint that only heightened the tension. At one point, Amara noticed a tiny imperfection in the plating of a dish. She leaned toward him, her blue eyes sparkling. "I apologize, sir," she said, her tone mock serious. This was clearly a mistake. The chef will be humiliated. And I will have to scold him, of course. Jaehyun raised an eyebrow, clearly amused. You're fearless and meticulous. Dangerous combination. Amara smirked. Dangerous? Maybe, but it keeps life interesting. The night progressed, the restaurant humming with the quiet electricity of their unspoken connection. Every glance, every touch, every playful retort built a tension that made the space around them feel intimate, even in the bustling dining room. By the end of the meal, Amara had not only impressed Jaehyun but had completely captivated him. He leaned back, eyes locked on hers, his voice low and deliberate. You've done well tonight. I hope you understand something. I will choose you whenever I want. And when I choose someone, they don't work another day if they don't wish to. Her chest tightened at his words. Choose me? She whispered, blue eyes wide. That's bold and dangerous, but I like bold. Makes life interesting. He inclined his head, a faint smirk playing on his lips. Good, because I intend to keep choosing you. Amara's co-workers gaped, their envy palpable. Minji looked like she might faint, her hands shaking as she gripped her clipboard. Yet Amara didn't flinch. She relished in the chaos she had created, in the freedom of being recognized not just for her beauty, but for her spirit, her wit, her fire. As Jaehyun left, the restaurant buzzed with a mix of whispers and awe. Amara stood still for a moment, watching the rain glisten on the streets outside, her thoughts swirling. Her life was changing in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. She had no idea the depth of the world she was about to be pulled into, or the dangers that lurked beneath Jaehyun's calm, confident exterior. But for the first time, she felt a spark of something new. Excitement, power, freedom, and most intoxicating of all, a sense that someone truly saw her, for all of her fire, her audacity, and the brilliance of her blue eyes. And bestie, that spark was about to ignite everything around her. The city of Seoul shimmered under a pale moon, reflecting off rain-slicked streets and the towering glass buildings that stretched endlessly into the sky. Amara walked briskly through the quiet alleyways on her way home from Le Soleil, the evening air crisp against her skin. Her blue eyes scanned her surroundings instinctively, her long natural hair tied into a bun that revealed the sharp line of her jaw, accentuating her delicate but striking features. She moved with poise, elegance, and the quiet confidence of someone who had learned to survive in a world that constantly underestimated her. Her thoughts kept drifting back to Jaehyun, the mysterious man whose presence had turned her world upside down. The memory of his gaze, that sharp, calculating look that made her pulse race, replayed endlessly in her mind. He had chosen her, boldly, unapologetically, and without hesitation. Someone like him, someone powerful, dangerous, had singled her out, and it was impossible to ignore the thrill that coursed through her veins every time she thought of it. The events of the past week at the restaurant replayed in her mind like a vivid, unrelenting montage. The smug glances of Minji, the whispering co-workers, the subtle acts of sabotage that Amara had effortlessly turned into opportunities to showcase her audacity. She had endured years of bullying, belittling, and being told she was different or ugly because of her blue eyes and dark skin. But for the first time, someone had not only recognized her uniqueness but had celebrated it. As she walked, her phone buzzed. She glanced down and saw a message from an unknown number. Amara, I expect to see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Don't be late. Her lips curved into a sly grin. No name, no explanation, just that commanding energy she had come to associate with Jaehyun. Her heart skipped a beat, a mixture of thrill and apprehension surging through her. The next evening arrived faster than she anticipated. Amara entered Le Soleil, her uniform crisp, her bun perfectly styled, and her blue eyes sharper than ever. The restaurant had an unusual hush, as if everyone could sense the tension, the anticipation that something was about to happen. Her co-workers glanced at her with a mixture of jealousy, fear, and curiosity, while Minji's face was the perfect picture of simmering rage. You're late, Minji spat, though her voice trembled slightly. Amara raised an eyebrow. Am I? I guess time flies when you're thinking about choices. Her smirk was playful yet pointed, and the supervisor's hands tightened on her clipboard as if holding it would prevent her rage from exploding. The door opened with a soft chime, and Jae-hyun entered, his presence immediately dominating the room. He was dressed in a charcoal gray suit, his posture commanding, yet his gaze, directed only at Amara, was filled with something far more intimate than mere authority. "Amara," he said, voice calm but low, almost a whisper meant only for her. "Tonight we're not at the restaurant. Follow me." She blinked, slightly taken aback. "Follow you? Bold. Dangerous. I like it." Her playful smirk met his calm, unreadable expression, and she felt that familiar electric thrill that had been coursing through her since the first day he chose her. He didn't respond with words, only a subtle nod. The car waiting outside was sleek, black, and silent. As she slid into the passenger seat, her blue eyes met his once again, and she felt a strange mix of excitement and apprehension. The drive was quiet, filled only with the hum of the engine and the distant city sounds. Amara couldn't resist breaking the silence. "You know," she said, her voice teasing, "people usually don't pick strangers to accompany them to mysterious locations. Dangerous and exciting, though." He glanced at her, the faintest smirk tugging at his lips. "You enjoy danger, don't you?" "I do," she said smoothly, "and I enjoy keeping people on their toes, especially those who underestimate me." Jae-hyun's eyes darkened slightly, admiration and something deeper flickering across his features. "Good," he said simply, "because I plan to test you. Not because I want to, but because I need to see if you can handle what comes next." Amara's pulse quickened. "Test me? Oh, sir, I've been tested my whole life. I can handle anything you throw at me. Just try not to be boring." He let out a low chuckle, the sound resonating through the quiet of the car, and for the first time, Amara felt a strange warmth settle over her. This wasn't just attraction. This was a collision of two forces, wild, untamed, and utterly magnetic. The car came to a stop in front of an unmarked building tucked away from the main streets. Inside, the space was dimly lit, sleek, and modern, yet carried an underlying tension, a subtle edge that made Amara instinctively aware of the power within these walls. "Welcome," Jae-hyun said, his voice calm, almost playful. "This is my world, Amara. One you are about to see, but not yet fully understand." Amara looked around, eyes wide, trying to absorb the magnitude of the space. "Your world?" Bold words, very bold, and very mysterious. She couldn't hide the grin tugging at her lips. "Dangerous too, I bet." Jae-hyun leaned against a sleek glass table, studying her. "Dangerous? Yes, but necessary. And I trust you are ready for it." Amara crossed her arms, blue eyes sparkling. "Ready? I was born ready. But you might just regret choosing me." He laughed, a low, satisfying sound that filled the room and sent shivers down her spine. "I don't think I will," he replied. "I think I've found something remarkable." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, a dance of words, teasing, and sharp wit. Amara's savage humor bounced off his calm authority, creating a tension that was both thrilling and intoxicating. She challenged him, joked with him, and tested boundaries, while he matched her in ways that made her pulse race, cheeks flush, and heart beat faster than she had ever known. Hours passed like minutes. They discussed trivialities and deeper things, the world outside fading away, leaving only the two of them in a bubble charged with energy, playfulness, and unspoken desire. Amara's co-workers, the restaurant, her past insecurities, they all seemed irrelevant compared to this. By the end of the evening, Jae-hyun's presence had left an indelible mark on her. The combination of danger, authority, and genuine fascination with her spirit was intoxicating. Amara realized something important. Her life was no longer her own. She had been chosen, selected for a path she had never imagined, and the fire between them, playful, sharp, and unrelenting, was only the beginning. As she returned home later that night, Seoul's skyline glittering beneath her, Amara couldn't stop smiling. She knew the world was about to change, that her life would never be ordinary again. She didn't yet know the full depth of Jae-hyun's power, the dangers that awaited, or the secrets that would soon unfold, but one thing was certain. She had finally met someone who could match her fire, who could challenge her wit, and who had, without realizing it, ignited a spark in her that could burn the world down. And bestie, that spark was unstoppable. The first rays of dawn seeped through the curtains, painting Amara's apartment in soft golds and pinks. She sat on the edge of her bed, her long natural hair still tied neatly in a bun, and stared at her reflection in the mirror. Those piercing blue eyes, the ones co-workers had mocked, criticized, and claimed were unnatural, shone with a fire she had never felt before. The past week had been nothing short of transformative. She had survived the jealousy, sabotage, and disdain of her co-workers. She had endured Minji's relentless attempts to undermine her. She had discovered a confidence within herself that no one could strip away. And she had met Jae-hyun, a man who defied explanation, a man whose calm authority, dangerous aura, and sharp wit had matched her fire in ways she had never imagined possible. And now, the moment of truth had arrived. Amara arrived at Le Soleil for her shift, every step deliberate, every movement radiating confidence. The staff immediately noticed the difference. She didn't just walk. She commanded the room. Even Minji, usually poised in smug superiority, froze for a fraction of a second, unsure how to react. "You're glowing?" whispered one coworker, barely able to conceal awe. Amara smirked. "Thank you. I've been chosen. That tends to happen when someone finally notices your worth." Minji's hands trembled on her clipboard. "Chosen? By who?" "You'll see soon enough," Amara replied smoothly, her voice teasing, almost musical. "Or maybe you won't. Depends on how patient you are." The door opened with a gentle chime, and Jae-hyun stepped in. As always, the room seemed to shrink around him. His gaze locked on Amara immediately, his dark eyes absorbing every detail. Her posture, her grin, the confident sparkle in her blue eyes. "You're on time," he said quietly, his voice smooth, commanding yet playful. "Of course," Amara replied, smirking. "I don't like keeping powerful, mysterious men waiting. It's bad for business. And dangerous. For them." He chuckled low, the sound rich and thrilling. "You're fearless. And you like fearless?" She shot back, matching his smirk. "It suits you. Makes life interesting." The meal began, and Amara moved with effortless grace, balancing trays, delivering dishes, and exchanging sharp, playful banter with Jae-hyun. Every glance, every word, every subtle touch carried an electric tension that left the staff speechless. The restaurant seemed suspended in time around them. Minji tried to intervene once, tugging on Amara's apron. She's not allowed to." Jae-hyun's calm, commanding voice stopped her instantly. "She will serve me," he said, "and you will watch quietly." Minji's face drained of color. "But she's..." Amara leaned close to the table, blue eyes sparkling with mischief. "You're cute when you try, Minji. But no, you can't control me. Never could. And frankly, it's adorable how much you want to." Jae-hyun laughed quietly, a low, satisfied sound. "I like your humor," he said to her, leaning back in his chair. "Sharp, unrelenting. You're remarkable." Amara smirked. "Remarkable, huh? Careful. Flattery might just get you addicted." The night progressed, each course paired with banter, teasing, and unspoken tension that made every second feel heavier and more electric. Amara discovered she could be playful yet commanding, teasing yet confident, and Jae-hyun responded to every challenge, every quip, with the same quiet intensity that had first captivated her. Hours passed like minutes. The city outside hummed, but inside the restaurant, the world had narrowed down to just the two of them. Finally, Jae-hyun stood, moving toward her with measured steps. "Amara," he said quietly, voice low and deliberate, "I want you to understand something. I choose you, always, and when I choose someone, I don't let them endure anything they don't wish to. You won't work another day if you don't want to." Her pulse quickened. "Choose me. Always?" Bold words. Dangerous too, but I like bold. Makes life interesting. He inclined his head, dark eyes glittering. "Good, because I intend to keep choosing you." Minji's hands trembled on the clipboard, co-workers whispered in disbelief, and the tension in the room became almost physical. But Amara didn't flinch. She reveled in the chaos, in the freedom, in the fire that had been lit within her. After the restaurant had emptied, Jaehyun guided her out to the sleek, black car waiting outside. The streets of Seoul glimmered under the city lights, rain reflecting neon signs and street lamps like scattered stars. "You don't need to go back there," he said, voice low, almost tender. "Not unless you want to." Amara's grin was mischievous. "Oh, I like my coworkers' headaches too much to leave completely, but the thought is tempting." He smirked, leaning against the car. "You're remarkable," he said again, and this time, there was no teasing, only admiration, intensity, and something far deeper. "Remarkable, huh?" Amara tilted her head, blue eyes flashing. "Careful, sir. That's not just flattery, it's a warning. You might get addicted." He laughed, low and deliberate. "Perhaps I already am." They drove through the quiet streets of Seoul, the city lights reflecting in their eyes. Conversation flowed effortlessly, playful, teasing, intimate. Each word, each glance, each fleeting touch building a connection that felt electric and unbreakable. Finally, they arrived at a secluded rooftop, overlooking the city like they were perched above the world. The air was crisp, charged with the scent of rain and the faint hum of distant traffic. "You see this?" Jaehyun asked, gesturing to the sprawling skyline. "This is my world. And now, you are a part of it." Amara's breath caught. "Part of your world?" she repeated, voice soft, awed. "Bold words, dangerous too. But I like bold. Makes life interesting." He stepped closer, dark eyes fixed on hers. "I didn't just choose you. I want to protect you, to challenge you, to be with you, in every way that matters. You don't know the half of it yet." Amara felt a thrill course through her veins, a mix of excitement, fear, and anticipation. "Challenge me, huh? Careful, sir. I might just give as good as I get." He smiled, a slow, dangerous curve of his lips. "I'm counting on it." The night stretched on, filled with laughter, playful banter, and stolen glances. Every word, every teasing remark, every confident smile deepened their connection, building a tension that was thrilling, intoxicating, and utterly irresistible. By the time the first light of dawn touched the city, Amara realized something profound. Her life would never be the same. She had been chosen, seen, admired, and tested in ways that had awakened a fire within her. Jaehyun's presence, sharp wit, and dangerous charm had ignited a spark that would burn brighter than anything she had ever known. The first thing Amara noticed when she woke up wasn't the morning sun spilling over the sleek penthouse, but the quiet hum of the city below. She blinked once, twice, letting her piercing blue eyes adjust to the light, and realized this was real. The soft sheets, the subtle scent of expensive perfume lingering in the air, the faint rumble of a luxury car engine outside. It wasn't a dream. She stretched, letting out a long yawn that carried both disbelief and amusement. "Wow," she whispered to herself, fingers tugging at the edge of the silk sheets. From sad, overworked girl to this, bold, dangerous, insane. A voice, smooth and deep, interrupted her thoughts before she could even get out of bed. "You're thinking too much." Amara turned sharply and found Jaehyun standing in the doorway, dark eyes glinting with amusement. His tailored suit clung perfectly to his frame, and he looked like a man who owned the world without even trying. "I am thinking too much?" she asked, one eyebrow raised, a playful smirk curling her lips. "Careful, sir. That's how dangerous people get caught overthinking." He chuckled, a low, intoxicating sound. "Dangerous? I like dangerous, especially when it's paired with blue eyes and a mouth that talks back." Amara smirked, sitting up straighter. "Flattery might get you, well, addicted. You're warned." "Good," he said, leaning against the doorframe, his gaze darkening just slightly. "I intend to be addicted." The morning stretched into a slow, teasing dance of banter. He brought her coffee exactly the way she liked it, strong, black, with just a hint of cinnamon, and she teased him endlessly about how meticulous and controlling he was. He, in turn, teased her about how effortlessly she charmed everyone, from the elevator attendants to the private staff who hovered silently around the penthouse. By the time they left the apartment, Amara had decided one thing for certain. This world was intoxicating, thrilling, and honestly terrifying, but in the best possible way. Their first outing together was casual yet extravagant. A simple brunch at a high-end rooftop cafe. She took in the city below, neon and glass glimmering like scattered stars. People glanced their way, and she could feel the tension of attention. Quiet deference and awe in equal measure. "You're smirking," Jaehyun said softly, watching her watch the reactions around them. "I'm noticing," she replied, playful and unbothered. "That people look stunned. Not at you. At me." His eyes flickered, amused and intrigued. "At you?" "Yes," she said, shrugging. Blue eyes, hair tied up, unapologetic sass. "You'd be shocked at the power of this combination." He laughed softly, and the sound made her pulse quicken. "I'm not shocked," he said, leaning closer, voice low. "I'm captivated." Amara's grin widened. "Careful, sir. You might get used to it." He smirked. "Good, because I don't plan on ever getting over it." The afternoon unfolded with shopping trips, a private gallery showing, and a drive through streets that seemed impossibly alive. Amara, still discovering this new world, teased him relentlessly, pointing out the quirks of wealth, luxury, and the life he obviously commanded. "You know," she said as she admired a sleek black car in the showroom, "I never realized I'd like being spoiled. This addictive, dangerous too, but in a good way." "You like danger," he said, eyes darkening slightly, "and I intend to give it to you." Her blue eyes sparkled. Bold words, dangerous words. I like them both. As evening fell, they returned to the penthouse, and the city lights glittered like 1,000 tiny stars. Amara leaned against the balcony railing, watching the world below, still in awe of how drastically her life had changed. Jaehyun stepped close, placing a hand lightly on her back. "You're adapting faster than I expected," he said quietly, voice almost tender. "You're remarkable, Amara. I didn't just choose you for your beauty. I chose you for your fire, your humor, your spirit." Amara blushed, hiding it behind a playful smirk. "Remarkable, huh? Careful, sir. Flattery might just get you addicted." He chuckled softly, tilting her chin up to meet his gaze. "Perhaps I already am." The night ended with her lying awake, staring at the ceiling, heart racing, mind whirling. She knew her life had changed forever. She was falling, fast, hard, and thrillingly, for a man whose world was vast, mysterious, and dangerous.
Hello besties, in this story we learned that be proud of who you are because real love will find you exactly as you are. Thank you so much for watching. Kindly like, subscribe and share.